The PCA 10 main event is already underway. We've seen thoroughbreds start the race and fall at the first hurdle.
Look.
We've witnessed the poker birth of Olympic legend Michael Phelps and the demise of actor Jason Alexander.
Good luck, gentlemen.
And yet, there is a shadowy figure still to come to the table.
One big name we've never had is Phil Hellmuth.
No, Phil has 13 bracelets.
Like sometimes he's playing like an absolute lunatic.
I'm just waiting for him to like go off on someone.
Boom! Boom! Shake the poker world. Stun it a little bit. Come on, boys. Don't forget about me.
The perfect burger needs a lot of care and attention. It requires rigorous preparation, a comfortable covering, exercise, and at least 2 naps. Oh, hang on a second, that's Phil Hellmuth. Yes, the poker brat has completed his preparation routine and is ready to step into the fray, hopefully with better results than his last outing.
That's why I showed up late. I was trying to avoid a cooler like that.
But man up, baby. That's what I do. That's my Twitter line. Man up.
Never one to avoid a grand entrance, Phil has chosen to wait until the 10th year of the PCA to make his start. By the end of today, we'll have our final field all competing for the first prize of nearly $1.9 million. Halfway through day one, we have seen big names come and go. Meanwhile, a couple of poker superstars, Ivy and Negreanu, are really making their presence felt. They're among the early chip leaders. And then there's Phil Hellmuth. He has only just arrived.
Phil's always late to the party. It's kind of his thing. According to his tweets, he's been napping all day. Plus, he rolled up in here with a burger. Now, if you remember the Super High Roller event, he was 8 hours late, lasted 20 minutes. In today's event, also 8 hours late, but with a burger in his belly, I'm willing to bet he lasts at least a half hour.
Well, Phil's on our featured table, along with your biggest crush, Liv Boeree. Yes, here at the PokerStars.com PCA 10, Phil Hellmuth isn't the only horse in the race, as Liv Boeree is looking for a second title to add to her San Remo win. Out on the floor, the war between the other Phil and Mr. PCA continues.
You have a lot of the best poker tournament players in the world playing these events, so it's really intense.
I think 13 is about time I win again at the PCA, yeah.
And there are battles raging all over as some of Europe's finest go head-to-head on the secondary feature table. But what everyone wants to know is how long will Hellmuth last?
I'm on the track. I'm getting better and better. I know exactly what to do. I'm on this curve right where I need to be. I'm in just the absolute perfect fighting mode right now.
Perfect fighting mode. I sure hope so, because Phil Hellmuth brawls are the best thing that happened to televised poker since the hold card camera. That is Michael Phelps. He's got 18 gold medals to Phil's 13 bracelets, so, yeah. But Elke's the only one with a PCA title, so he's pretty much got them both beat. Tom Dwan also here. The laptop makes him feel more comfortable.
This is my first PCA in 10 years.
I know.
Yet somehow the event was a success without him.
Liv, I'm gonna try to make it the full hour. In China, I lasted 35 minutes, the high roller, 38 minutes. But I kind of had them drawing dead in China.
2 billion people is a rather large field to get through.
So Liv and Phil seated next to each other effectively. A couple of other names at the table you might recognize, Sam Greenwood and Steve Gross, who is an online beast.
He actually plays under the name G. Boro and has won over 6 million online. This might sound redundant, but Gross is sick.
So midway through day 1B, the blinds are 250, 500 with a 50 ante. Average stack around 40,000. Action at the feature table has been folded to Steve Gross. 4-5 suited in the hijack, and he is raising, makes it 1,200 total.
Fine from relatively late. Even when you get called, you'll usually have decent equity. Hellmuth may elect to 3-bet him here.
He does re-raise.
I might as well play every hand while I'm here.
Especially the ridiculously strong ones.
The blinds have folded.
I'll show you this one, actually. But maybe I'll show you a deuce-9 offsuit.
Steve's hand is a little weak to call out of position, and Hellmuth's not super deep.
Can beat that.
I like the fold. Phil's not really known for 3-betting too wide.
Queen of spades. A little loose, Liv, but I felt like I had him beat, you know?
Here's a question for you, Tweeps. When Hellmuth is talking about they and them, who in the Hellmuth is he talking about? Hashtag at PCA 10.
Over to the secondary feature table, which plays host to former EPT finalist Richard Toth and one half of the De Mulder twins. Toth raised, and Christoph De Mulder has 3-bet to 3,000. Toth calls, out of position.
Toth with a hand he could certainly take a flop with, even out of position.
And he hits top pair, a queen-high flop.
Top pair.
He checks to De Mulder, the pre-flop aggressor. And Christoph checks behind.
Nothing wrong with checking when you whiff that hard.
Another queen on the turn. Toth checks a second time.
This time for deception.
No delayed continuation bet, but an ace on the river.
Bad card for De Mulder.
Toth is not going to check it a third time. He bets 3,000.
I think he could have maybe let a little bigger there. He's actually been put in a weird spot by the fact that Christoph didn't bet the flop return, so in Toth's eyes, it's hard for De Mulder to have much.
De Mulder pays him off. And Richard Toth will win that pot with trip queens.
I don't think a check raise would have got paid off there, but a bigger bet might have.
Also at our secondary table, sat alongside Richard Toth, is Mike McDonald, the youngest ever EPT winner. Jake Cody also has an EPT title to his name. He's now a member of Team Pro, along with Vanessa Russo, and one of the biggest names in the game, Daniel Negreanu. An online legend in the field as well. On his computer still, Tom Dwan.
Sad when the young ones need a security blanket.
So I walked over and I was like, sir, I have a deal with my friend. I have to snarf you. I said, it's nothing bad. I said, the only thing I have to do is rub my nose on your shoulder. And he goes, are you drunk? And I said, no. I said, I've had one beer. He said, okay. And his wife turned around and looked at me. And then the guy goes, I suggest you go to that table right now.
Pierre loves it.
And I was like, awesome. I was like, thanks a lot, Antonio. I was like, you just made me almost get my ass kicked by like a 70-year-old man.
You can snarf me. Totally open to being snarfed by Michael Phelps. Please snarf me.
Back to the feature table where we have an all-in. It was the short stack player David Kim who shoved. He came over the top of Liv Boeree's opening raise. She snap called with jacks. Kim at risk with ace-9.
Snap call in that spot all day, every day.
No ace on that flop, and clubs not a factor. Liv has the jack of clubs. But there's an ace on the turn.
Ew.
Kim has to fade a jack on the river, and he does.
It never comes like ace, then jack. You know you doubled up, right, bro?
Can't even win a pot.
Yeah, he knows.
Liv's all, so glad it was through me. Awesome.
She's back to around her starting stack of 30,000 chips. Back out into the field. A hand involving Michael the Grinder Mizrachi.
And Jason, no nickname, Helder.
Mizrachi bets the river, 8,000. Helder bets enough to put Mizrachi all in.
I don't expect him to be doing this too light, though Grinder has been known to play some raggy hands, so maybe.
He calls. Helder shows Jack 10 for third pair. Mizrachi King Jack for 2 pair.
I said I didn't expect Helder to be doing this very light, and I was wrong. I was dead wrong. Blind on blind, too.
Well, Michael the Grinder Mizrachi's had a pretty decent 12 months. He won a bracelet and had 3 more top 5 finishes at the WSOP in 2012. And now he's entered our leaderboard. He is 10th in chips overall. In 6th position is a man who won the World Series of Poker main event in 2001, Carlos Mortensen. And still out in front with 302 big blinds is Phil Ivey.
Ivey's still sharing a table with Elke. No bottle service, though. Yet.
And those two players are involved in a hand here. Elke's bet 4,400 on the flop. Ivey raises enough to put Elke all in. And Elke calls. The cards go on their backs. What a cooler top against a set of 8.
And on a super wet board, you're never getting away from that.
Elke drawing dead on the turn, and Busto from the PCA 10 main event.
That is annoying. I think the saddest part of any EPT is when Elke stoically strolls out of the room.
Once again, Elke denied the opportunity to win his second EPT title. And Phil Ivey has taken out a dangerous opponent and consolidated his tournament chip lead. Back to the feature table. Table Hellmuth.
Like just quickly, too.
Entertaining the troops.
Orson Young. His pocket sevens under the gun and raises to 1200. Steven Friedlander calls with ace-8 suited.
Everybody's going to say, who's that guy that gave Phil all the chips at the PCA, got him doubled up?
I think you're going to be the one giving them to me, buddy.
Really?
I do.
If I lose 1200 with ace-king, how are you going to get my chips?
There's a really good chance Phil has no idea who he's talking to, and an even better chance that if he did, he wouldn't care.
All right, let's go again.
Phil also has ace-8 suited. He calls.
Everybody playing it okay so far.
Three-way to the flop. Top pair for Phil and for Friedlander.
This time I better bet out 2,500.
But Young has flopped to set.
I know in his mind he's like, does he have aces or does he have like the 8-9 suited? What could it be?
My guess is that he doesn't give a deuce. He's got a set, Broad, and by the way, talking in a three-way pot, definitely not cool.
There's a raise from Young to 6,500.
Like the raise a lot, Phil's calling once he starts talking this much.
Friedlander folds.
What do you make it, 6,500? All right, I better call.
Friedlander did what you're supposed to do with ace-8.
I'm gonna check.
Phil checks to Young, who now has a lock on the hand.
Bad turn card for the set.
He checks behind.
Don't mind the check. Bombing that would fold most hands that you're beating.
Ace on the river. Phil now with two pair.
6,500.
I call.
No kidding.
I have a set.
Set's good. Set's good.
So Orson Young wins a pot worth more than 30,000. Most of those chips coming from Phil Hellmuth, who's left himself just 8.5K. Can he bounce back? Find out after the break.
Hard again. You seen a tall English dude around here?
I haven't, sorry.
Ridiculous looking, kind of like Big Bird, but more stupid looking. Probably complaining about something. Really pasty. No? Hard again. Always does this.
Welcome back to the PokerStars.com PCA 10 from the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas. There are many great stars of the game here, but there is only one Mr. PCA. Unfortunately for Elke, before the break, he ran into the full force of Phil Ivey.
And like, we'll see both the Super Aurora and the main here in a couple of days. It's kind of tough, but that's life, I guess. That's poker, so I'll be back stronger next time, yeah.
Mr. PCA is having an SCA, sad clown adventure.
Back at the feature table, actions on Steve Gross as queens and raises an early position, makes it 1,200. Kings for Hellmuth.
Oh no, Steve Gross is going to be known as the guy who doubles up Phil Hellmuth. Hellmuth's short, so it's going all in. Weird.
He just calls, laying a trap.
Leave it to Phil to get tricky.
Round to the button. Jack 10 for Friedlander.
Tempting, especially since this pot wasn't 3-bet and in position. Not what Phil really wants.
He calls.
Great odds for the big blind to come along too now.
Luke Vrabel also has queens.
Oh, and there's always that.
I'm all in.
He shoves.
This is even more gross for Gross. He can't even hit a two-outer.
You got like 27, 28 over there? Nothing, that's all. All right.
I don't think that much.
Pile it in.
Gross does. And look at Hellmuth moving all in.
That was amazing. He was like a ninja. It was almost too fast for cameras to capture it.
When I woke up today, this is a hand I thought I'd go broke with. But it's going to be hard for him to beat it
You are
with.
so lucky, buddy.
If it weren't for luck, he'd win every... Oh, he is winning this one. Kids, pack the car. We're leaving.
Hellmuth a 96% favourite to triple up. Well, there are 2 spades on the flop.
Backdoor spade sweat for Vrabel.
You could spade.
So you're saying there's a
But it can't
chance?
be the king.
I'm in trouble. I'm drawing
You don't
down.
want to hit the king of spades, though. I don't think I have you covered anyway.
You do.
That's exciting.
Now we have a sweat.
Come on, dealer.
Oh, man, if a spade hits, Hellmuth is going into orbit.
It's a club.
Black, too.
So Phil Hellmuth triples up, and Luke Vrabel is eliminated.
This means if you took the under on Hellmuth lasting 30 minutes, you blew it.
He now has a stack of more than 26,000. That's almost as much as he started with.
Did Luke Vrabel really just kick at the air? Oh, he's so sad. Someone get him a Bahama Mama, and also a drink.
At our secondary feature table, we are sweating with Christophe de Mulder.
Something the girls of Belgium have been fantasizing about for years.
He raised in early position. Richard Toth has called in the small blind, so we're going heads up to the flop. And that's not a great flop for ace-8 of clubs.
Sure, we can see bet here, though. Why not? Maybe we'll get lucky and win it now.
Toth checks. And Christophe will continue. 1,050.
Come on. Just fold. Ah.
Toth calls. The turn is the 7 of diamonds.
Well, that doesn't help us. Totally fine with slowing down, getting a cheap showdown.
Toth checks for a second time. And Christophe will check behind. Ace on the river.
Hey, nice. We can value bet now.
Toth checks.
How much should we go for? Eric Idle over there reckons we can get paid by a 10.
5,500 in the middle. The value bet is 3,600.
That is a chunky bet.
And Toth responds with a check raise to 8,000.
And that is a small raise. I expect it's for value, and it's probably a flush or at worst 2 pair. I think this is a pretty easy fold.
Yeah, the ace that came in on the river was the ace of diamonds, completing a potential flush. And de Mulder will give it up. Let's see Richard Toth's hole cards. King Jack of diamonds, he did back his way into a flush.
Nice float on the flop, Toth. More like Richard Moth, because he just won't go away.
That's the second round of Toth v de Mulder, and it's 2-0 to Hungary.
Chawanda, Ivy, McDonald, Oppenheim, Dwan, all stair beasts.
Show me some stairs, Stapes.
Mike McDonald's stare is like buying a stairway to heaven. Phil Ivey in stereo. How about Stair Wars with Obi-Wan Kenobi? And that one's a little blinky. Must be from all the chlorine.
As I was reading like Negreanu's like Twitter, like, you know, like 15-year-old Mike would think this is the coolest thing ever, that like, you know, Daniel Negreanu is listing me up there with, you know, Phil Ivey and those guys.
Back to the table of hell. Muth.
Nice.
Sorry, Liv.
She's not.
1,500.
So he's raising. Liv with queen 9 off.
Sorry, Phil.
She's not.
She defends.
This is like the dinner scene from Jaws.
Jack, Jack 4, no one connects.
Phil may be giving up on his 5 high.
Check, check. Liv pairs her queen on the turn.
Okay, well, Liv's winning this hand like almost always now.
Once again, check, check.
Trick A.
King on the river.
Kind of a scare card. Whoop. Phil's gonna bluff at it.
1,200.
Should be a snap call.
Good call.
Something tells me Phil will just muck this one.
Queen 9. God, I had you on Queen 10. I was going to check raise the flop.
Tough to check raise when your opponent doesn't bet. It's key.
Now, have you ever wondered what Liv does when she's not at the poker table?
Yes?
Well, luckily for you, we spent some time out with Miss Boeree back in Blighty.
My family kind of described me as a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde in terms of what they see of me on the cameras, out on the poker circuit, to what they know of the Liv, or Olivia as I'm known back here. I guess it's a fairly little known fact that I grew up in this beautiful place with these wonderful animals.
Her love of animals has definitely come from me. If I have an animal, I commit to it and look after it well, and I've tried to teach her to do the same thing.
Bella is a very good horse. I trust her hugely. She's very patient, and the other animals love her.
There we go. Oh, God. Who's a good boy?
Oh, it's so nice when I can get on my horse and go galloping across the fields. It definitely blows away the cobwebs, and poker is the last thing on my mind. It's gone. The thing with horses is that you have to work really hard to get them to a level that they're going to win when you enter competitions. Having that drive and having someone sort of supporting and pushing you, it really paid off because, you know, I would be bringing home armfuls of rosettes and trophies. Coming back here definitely gives me a chance to decompress and really feel refreshed and invigorated. It's nice to be able to get away from all of it. I don't want to say I escaped to here because I love my time when I'm on tour. It definitely gives me a real boost and, you know, a new lease of life, ready for my next poker trip.
So when Liv says she's going to check on her horse, she means it literally.
Well, let's check on another British EPT champion. On one of our outer tables, we find Jake Cody, involved in a hand against super high roller finalist Carrie Katz.
Remember, Carrie Katz is a Beschneffly billionaire, so he's not scared money.
Cody has bet 8,000 on the river. Katz has been thinking for some time. He calls, and Cody tables aces.
Carrie Katz making some kind of hero call, apparently, unless he just didn't see the straight on board. Must be nice to just have him giving them away, eh, Jake?
So Cody wins a decent-sized pot. He's now playing a stack of 106,500, and he is amongst the tournament chip leaders. Jake 6th in chips overall. Phil Ivey has slipped down into 5th position. Michael Mizrachi 2nd on the leaderboard, but we have a new tournament chip leader, Ashton Griffin, with nearly 190,000.
Man, I can barely see those green chips with that jacket on. Must be dressed in camo to go donkey hunting.
Well, staying in the field, the grinder has been moved to Phil Ivey's table. And they're both involved in a hand with Helio Cream. Cream raising the flop, grinder 3-betting. Cream calls all in. Grinder tables Queen Jack, but Cream is well ahead with Ace Jack.
TPTK versus TP3K. Uh-oh, Mizrachi open-ended now. Gulp.
Cream still a 75% favorite. But an 8 on the river gives Grinder a straight, and Helio Cream is eliminated.
That's gross. I was going to say that Mizrachi overplayed his hand a little bit, but now I realize he was just getting preemptive value on our future straight.
Well, the action continues after the break. If you want to play in an EPT event, go to PokerStars.com, where there are qualifiers every day.
Guys, wait, can you guys help me? I'm looking for like a tall, lanky English dude, probably sunburned like immediately. He looks like maybe like an English Big Bird, only stupider looking. All right. Have you seen him?
No, I have not.
He might be like sitting under a tree, like watching a stupid French movie with subtitles, like black and white.
It's 10 years since the PokerStars.com PCA first made its way into the world. And during that time, we've had legends from all spheres at our tables. This year, however, a man with a rather impressive bracelet collection has decided it's time he came to the feast. And he's getting stuck in. Blinds are up to 300, 600. Hellmuth raising from mid-position with ace-queen.
Liv is dominated.
She folds.
Those two have known each other for a long time, actually. Hence the look, I hope.
King-queen suited for David Kim.
I would recommend never folding this ever on the button to just one raise.
He calls.
Even though we know he's dominated.
Friedlander has folded the small blind. DeRuta in the big blind. Will also pass. Heads up to the flop.
Hellmuth, the huge favorite here, and he knows. Look at him.
And it's a queen high flop.
This flop spells trouble for Kim. Wait, why did Phil check?
Kim bets 1,700.
5,000.
Hellmuth check raises to 5,000.
This might look like a good spot for a check raise, and Phil's lucky Kim's got a hand he could easily go broke with, but in general, this move looks very weird and kind of unbalances Phil's range. Fortunately for Phil, this kid's hand is kind of impossible for him to get away from.
He started the hand with around 20 big blinds. And having hit top pair, he's all in. Phil calls.
Both hands, please.
The good news is, at least you'll have a story.
Kim picks up a straight draw on the turn. He needs a king or a jack on the river.
You can say he went broke to a guy who couldn't remember to take a sticker off his hat.
A brick on the river, and Kim is KO'd.
They'll know the one you're talking about. Teach you to bring a cooler in that backpack.
I think they watched me on TV. I played a big percentage of the hands. But they forgot every time the chips went and I had it.
Not every time.
David Kim does not need to hear this speech.
Nobody can fold against me right now. I'm fugazi.
He knows that fugazi is Italian slang for phony, right? Of course he does.
My biggest enemy is myself. I don't think I'm that great. I know what I've accomplished, but if I focus on that, then I'm screwed. Winning the WSOP, amazing. If you can win in 89, 92, and 93, and 97, and a bunch in the 2000s, and then I win 2 in 2012, it's a little bit dreamy. Sometimes you just have to pinch yourself. Will I continue to add bracelets to my... Of course. I mean, I feel like I will. You don't want to get too egotistical. Am I more famous for being the poker brat or for my 13 bracelets? I think I'm a little bit more of a brat, but that's starting to fade. I'm not bratty as much as I used to be.
Can you please shut up?
And of course the bracelet count's going up. Will Phil Ivey ever catch me in bracelets? I mean, he's so good. I have 13, he has 8. And there's just no doubt that we're gonna have a race to, maybe it'll be first to 24. With a lead like 13 to 8, I think I'll get to 21st, but I mean, this is a guy who's just a great player. People ask what drives me to continue, and to me, I mean, what else would I do? I just hope that I can continue to have some great years. But I guess I just have to make it happen.
It's been a roller coaster day for Hellmuth. Right now, he's back up to his starting stack.
Gotta agree with Phil. The brattiness has gone down while the bracelet count has only gone up, and a lot of those tirades in the big game were actually somewhat warranted. So if you ask me, the best, classiest, ballerest poker player in the world is definitely Phil Ivey. I'm kidding. I legit think Hellmuth is one of, if not the greatest to ever live.
Well, back to the greatest swimmer of all time, Michael Phelps in a hand against Jacob Beasley.
4 cards straight out there.
Looks like Phelps is going to bet the river. 6,500. Beasley folds.
If Michael Phelps wins any more pots, he's going to be swimming in chips.
Get there with the flush, that would have got there with the straight.
Yeah, well, I won 22 Olympic medals. Cool story, bro.
Back to our secondary feature table, where the action has been folded to Richard Toth in the cutoff. He's got pocket queens, and he is raising. Makes it 1,200 total. Petter Christian folds the button. Paul Ephraimson in the small blind will call with ace-9 off.
Well, that's pretty loose, but you could be ahead against a late position raise. Who am I kidding? I hate it.
And Christoph de Mulder will call as well. 7-8 suited in the big blind. Three-way to the flop.
Christoph was getting 6-1 on a defend of his big blind.
Jack 9-3 with 2 hearts. And Christoph, with his flush draw, will donk bet 2,600. Toth still leads with queens.
Things could get really ugly here. Christoph is semi-bluffing, and it's almost always going to have a lot of equity.
Toth just calls. Ephraimson with second pair.
And this is why I hate the pre-flop call, because you have to call now, especially with the ace of hearts.
He does call. Three-way to the turn. Which is another heart, giving de Mulder the flush.
Drills it.
Ephraimson checks a second time.
De Mulder may choose to just continue to build a pot. Also, he doesn't really want to put another cheap heart out there.
Looks like he will bet again. 4 yellows, a pink, and 2 blacks. That's 4,700.
And I really think Toth could maybe start to think about folding, especially with no heart in his hand.
He calls, and Ephraimson shoves.
He's got absolutely no fold equity, which means he's always going to get called.
De Mulder eyeing Toth's stack as well.
These two are playing monkey in the middle with Richard Toth's ladies. Not cool.
De Mulder 3 bets, which will get rid of Toth.
Good fold.
And Ephraimson is going to be busto unless a heart comes on the river. It's a spade. He's hitting the rail.
Good game.
The heartthrob wins with the heart flush.
So Christoph de Mulder wins that pot. But how will he fare on the water slides of Atlantis?
A knockout competition for ultimate slidey glory. Heat 1, Kevin v. Liv. Winner, McPhee. Heat 2, de Mulder v. Other de Mulder.
5 seconds. Under 5 seconds. It's gonna be hard.
And that one clearly won by... Which one of them won? I don't know who is who.
This is what we've been waiting for.
It's like 8 Mile. We only have one moment. This is
Let's
it.
go!
Yeah!
Go! Chris. I wanted to take Chris too. I think he's gonna win it.
The final. And our champion is Chris and/or Matthias de Mulder.
Yeah, baby. Oh, that was the main goal. When you came to Bahamas, let's win this. I'm proud of you.
I knew twins had their own language.
Congratulations, Christoph. To the outer tables. 3-way action on the river. Michael Mizrachi with the decision. His chips are all over the shop. He bets 21,000.
Igor Kurganov was the only player who entered the super high roller 3 times. He also did not cash.
He folds. Andrei Kopecki.
I can beat a bluff only. I can beat a bluff only.
I'm known to bluff. Not this particular time.
Particular, easily the longest word I've ever heard Grinder say.
It'll cost him everything he's got. Kopecki calls.
Oh.
And Grinder shows ace-8 for 2 pair. Kopecki mucks and is eliminated.
Sometimes this would have been a great hero call against someone like Grinder, just not this particular time.
Mizrachi up to 165,000, still one of the 5 biggest stacks in the room, joined by the likes of Carlos Mortensen, Steve O'Dwyer, and Ashton Griffin, still the tournament chip leader with just over 180,000, a 300 big blind stack.
I just figured someone's going to make a mistake against me.
Phil Hellmuth not among the tournament chip leaders.
Like folding ace queen when you open.
We're going to sweat with Phil here. We'll play the hand from his perspective. Under the gun, ace-king suited, a raise to 1600.
Sweating with the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
Will Phil find a customer?
Well, I'm totally on board so far.
Sam Greenwood calls from the small blind, and Steve Gross folds the big.
So just one caller and we're in position. I am all about it.
Good flop for Hellmuth. Has the nut flush draw.
All right, let's go. Dang, it's hard to flop a pair in this place.
No, 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 no. We were supposed to bet there. No.
7 of hearts on the turn.
Did he check or what happened?
Not yet.
I'm thinking.
I'm thinking I'd like to go back and continuation bet the flop.
Greenwood leads the turn.
33, okay.
Phil calls.
What do you need, a 9 or a 10 or something, or what?
Those would be bad unless it's a club.
King of spades on the river.
Top pair for us. This guy sure doesn't look comfortable.
Greenwood considering whether to bet again. Hellmuth the effective stack. He has 15,000 behind. Hey buddy, it's on you. Greenwood handling his chips nervously.
Typically, I'd say we're pretty happy to have him bet here.
He bets 8,300.
Well, we missed the flush, but I think this is a pretty easy just call.
Gonna cost Phil more than half his remaining chips. He does call, and Greenwood tables aces.
Ay-ya.
Wow, how am I still alive? You told me the stone cold cooler and the nut flush draw on the flop, Liv. How am I still alive in this tournament?
Because you played it weird.
He gave me the stone cold cooler. It's a miracle. Hallelujah, it's a miracle.
Like turning water into wine. W-H-I-N-E.
It's a fair question, though. How is Phil Hellmuth still alive? Can you think of any other player on the planet who doesn't go broke in that spot? Tag your tweets. PCA 10.
Hey, have you guys seen like a, have any of you seen like a big, tall English guy probably getting sunburned, complaining about, no? What? Oh.
Before the break at the PokerStars.com PCA 10, Phil Hellmuth almost repeated his super high roller performance, but somehow managed to hold on by the skin of his teeth. So what happened there, Phil?
Heading into the last level, a hand came up where I had 20,000 in chips. The blinds were 4 and 8. I picked up ace-king of clubs, and I'm like, all right, this is sweet. So I made it 1,600, anticipating someone's gonna raise me. Please someone raise, I'm going all in. Because whatever they raise, they're probably gonna raise to 5,000, and then I get to move in and I get to pick up 6,000 or 7,000, move up from 20 to 27. It's a great scenario for me. But a guy in the small blind calls, and the flop comes down deuce of clubs, 6 of clubs, 8 of diamonds. He checks.
All right, let's go.
I snap checked behind him. I don't even understand exactly why I snap checked. I have the nut flush draw. I don't mind playing against almost any 2 cards in the deck. And then a 7 comes, and now he bets 3,300. Well, I was calling him with ace-king high, but I have the nut flush draw, so I called 3,300.
33. What do you need, a 9 or a 10 or something, or what?
And the river was a king. And now he bets 8,300, and now I had a bad feeling that, wow, I think he has something here. But I can't fold because I played the hand to call him down, and now I hit a king. So I feel like I don't have a choice. I can't even really think it through. Maybe some super white magic of just knowing he had it. I could have made an amazing laydown that they would have talked about for a long time. And so I called, and he showed 2 aces.
Wow, how am I still alive?
I'm supposed to be out.
How am I still alive in this tournament?
I'm supposed to bet the flop. He's supposed to re-raise before the flop. I'm out. I'm supposed to bet the flop. I'm out. I could have raised the turn. I'm out. All these scenarios lead to me being broke, me being broke, me being broke, and somehow survived. And I'm like, wow.
He gave me the stone cold cooler. It's a miracle.
It is.
Hallelujah! It's a miracle.
That's a free life, baby. And what can you do? These super coolers come up sometimes, and I survived it.
Oh yeah, you heard him right. Phil used the phrase white magic. It's like his thing, which is weird because I've only ever seen him wear black.
Blinds are up to 400, 800, and Phil's just raised for 60% of his stack. Here's where it all goes in.
Good call, James. You're almost always re-raising ace-queen from the button, especially given Phil's stack.
You raise?
Jonathan Little folds the small. Steve Friedlander folds the big. Phil sticks the rest of his chips in the middle.
Pleasure playing with you guys.
Pleasure playing with you guys is a little-known white magic spell. He does have live cards,
which gives him a 37% chance of survival.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, he moves ahead on the flop.
Now's when he should be saying thank you, thank you.
Good flop. Spade's good for me.
Let's not get greedy now.
It is a spade.
White magic!
That's a good card.
Only 4 outs now for Orson Young. He needs a non-spade ace or queen on the river.
You think it's coming? The ace of clubs?
No, I think it's 3 diamonds.
3 diamonds?
It's the 7 of clubs. So, Phil Hellmuth survives and doubles up. There's still going to be an incredibly short stack. Just 12,000 chips. That's fewer than 20 big blinds.
Don't leave a great player alive, kid.
So which player is he talking about? I'm kidding.
You don't want to do that.
Not long to go now until day 1B draws to a close.
Apparently he's not the only big-name pro up against the ropes.
Yeah, the tournament average at the moment is more than 51,000. There are plenty of players in the danger zone.
Danger zone!
Thank you, including Daniel Negreanu, who's got less than 15k. Eugene Kachalov, hovering around 21,500. But Olivier Busquet is a big stack. He's got double the tournament average. Jake Cody also running well, up over 80,000 in chips. Day 1B has been very kind to Michael Phelps. And extremely kind to Ashton Griffin, still the tournament chip leader with nearly 220k. Well, Phil Ivey used to be at the top of that leaderboard, but has been steadily bleeding chips over the second half of the day. His bet of 3,000 on the flop has been called by Brian Lemke. A king on the turn, action on Ivey.
Lemke's got a Hold'em bracelet, so he probably knows what he's doing.
Ivey bets 7,000 on the turn. And Lemke calls again. The river brings a 10.
Puts Broadway out there. Ivey not slowing down.
He bets a third time, 16,000. Quick call from Lemke. Ivey shows king-queen for top 2. 7s for Lemke for a set.
Definitely a big cooler, though if Lemke had raised the turn, they probably could have gotten it in. I don't know, Lemke. Someone amazing once said, never leave a great player alive. And you left Phil Ivey alive. I can tell because his eyes just moved. I think, yep, they moved.
Over to the secondary feature table, which has become the table of siblings. We've got 50% of the De Mulder twins, and sat next to Christoph is Antonio Esfandiari's brother, Pasha. Richard Toth has raised the cutoff here with deuces. Pasha Esfandiari folds. And Christoph, in the big blind, has ace-king suited.
You can definitely 3-bet this pre-flop for value.
Christoph De Mulder will re-raise to 4,700.
Toth is in position, getting okay implied odds to try to flop a set.
He will call. Heads up to the flop. Which is all hearts, ace high.
Top pair for De Mulder. You know what they say, James.
Everyone loves a chop pot?
Nope. In this case, I was thinking no set, no bet. See ya, Richard Toth.
He folds to the 5,500. So the final score in the battle between Belgium and Hungary is 2-2. It's a draw. I feel so unsatisfied.
Also unsatisfied, at least in this event, Scott Seaver, although he did just win $2 million in the super high roller.
Looks like the grinder's in action again.
2,000.
Betting 2,000 into 2 players.
Hard to tell where you're at with the grinder.
Paired board, 2 hearts. Well, the grinder gets 2 folds.
Don't think that was a bluff. Nope.
Shows the ace of hearts.
Good fold, and nice guy to show it to you, too. Also gets him a little more credit for later.
Grinder up to nearly 217,000 in chips. With one more hand to play on day 1B, he'll be second on the leaderboard, behind tournament chip leader Ashton Griffin. Also in the top 10, 2 previous EPT runners-up, Steve O'Dwyer and Olivier Bousquet. Back to the feature table. Phil Hellmuth with ace-king again.
Another big hand. Sweet poker face.
Phil raises to 2,000.
You have a chance again, kid. Wow, he's gonna do it again. So sick. Never folds.
Orson Young, 3 bets with ace-jack. A note that Phil has only left himself 10,000 behind.
That's all right. Phil is gonna love this. Shipperoo.
He's all in. Young calls.
I hope you have ace-queen again.
I have worse. I think you're in good shape.
But much like Phil's hotel room, Young is sweeted.
We need another jack like last time. I wish I had ace-queen.
Ooh, I'm glad you don't have ace-queen. All right, that's good.
Phil poised to double up to only half average, but he will survive the day.
Just has to fade a jack on the river.
If a 5 peels off, they will chop this pot.
It's a 6. Hellmuth lives.
Nice hand.
Yeah, he knows it.
Now I might need double.
Kid, never leave a great player alive. You understand?
He understands. He just doesn't know who you're talking about.
From you.
Bye, Olivia. See you at the bar. No, okay.
Your name, your chip counts, and your nationality, and if you could please put your receipts, if you still have them, in the bag.
From stacks to sacks, bag them up. Grinder made it through the day. Daniel Negreanu.
Making day 2 is always a good thing.
And Phil Hellmuth will be back at his first ever PCA.
Next time, 2 icons take their seats under the spotlights.
Welcome to poker, my man.
Thanks, buddy.
Now we're playing. I will not fold again to one of your raises.
And when winning is what you do best, anything else is a waste of time.
If you put your mind to something, you really can achieve anything.
The tall English guy said he was gonna meet me here like at noon. It's like sunburn like immediately. No. Hard again! James! Hard again!